So guys, tune into the show. Don't miss it because it's going to be an amazing show. You are going to be touched. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be excited. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock on a Thursday. The Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Yes, don't miss it. So guys, tune into the show. Don't miss it because it's going to be an amazing show. You are going to be touched. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be excited. It's Thursday, 11 o'clock on a Thursday. The Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Yes, don't miss it.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Message Talk Show with host Alex Gordon. How are you today? How are you doing? It's Thursday and it's that time of the morning when you've got to call your friends, call your enemies, call everybody you know and get on to the Message Talk Show. Welcome to our podcasters. Welcome to our listeners from all over the world. Where you're tuning in from the States, from Britain, from wherever you are tuning in from today. We just want to welcome you to the Message Talk Show and get your cup of tea, get your cup of coffee, and turn off those browsers. Yes, shut them down because I don't want you to be interrupted today at all on this show. You cannot be interrupted. You must give it every bit of attention. Today we're talking about, what are we talking about today? No, okay. Before I delve into the show, I must say we're still celebrating Black History Month. Yes, great month of the year. I've always said, why do we have to celebrate Black History Month? Why not Black History Year? But the question is, have you got your copy of Pitch Black? If you go to pitchblack.com, get your hands on that magazine. It's fresh. It's new. It's coming. It's come out in the month, Black History Month. I had the editor and producer of that magazine on the show last week, and it was most amazing. You know, if you haven't listened to that podcast, go and listen to that. You must listen to that because a great guy talking about Pitch Black, talking about the history that existed in this country. And you know, it was some time ago that Dr. Martin Glynn came on the show and reminded us. He said, guys, the future is dictated by the past. You won't make the mistakes in the future if you know your past. If you know your past, you can chart the future. But you can't move forward until you've looked at your past. That's tremendous, isn't it? So we've got Pitch Black has come out, and it's magazine. It's looking at the stories, looking at the elders, looking at the guys who were in business before, long before we were here. We're going far back, you know, and those guys created a path, made something happen, and we're here standing on their shoulders today. A lot's happened in the world. A lot's been happening in the world. A lot's going on in the world. And despite the challenges that we face, someone asked me, how are you, Alex? How are you doing? My comment always, I woke up this morning, guys. I woke up this morning. And because I woke up this morning, you know what? Everything else falls into insignificance because I can change everything else because I woke up. Do you know how many people have not woken up out of their sleep? Do you know how many people the past 18 months, 2 years have just disappeared from us? So therefore, we're thankful for being here, and we have a contribution to make. And the contribution today is the Message Talk Show with Alex Gordon. Today we're talking about how does your idea become a business? You see, people have ideas all the time. People have things come into their mind all the time. And the question is, how does an idea become a business? Now, have you ever heard people make this statement? I've heard people make this statement. You stole my idea. There's my idea. I had the idea last year. You know what? Ideas, we're not short of ideas. Ideas are floating around us all the time. Witty ideas are floating around in the atmosphere all the time. The question is whether you pull down your idea, is whether you pull the idea down and made it yours. And I've often looked at the supermarkets. The supermarkets are a very good example of ideas and concepts and combination of concepts and ideas that are virtually almost the same, but just their version and their twist of that idea. And supermarkets and shops survive because of their twist on the one idea. If you look at the shelves and look what they're selling, they're virtually selling more or less the same things. You know, okay, there's some are branded, some are not, some branded products, but when you go in there, virtually, you're buying the same things. Now, there may be a price difference because of the size of the organization. There's something unique to each of these supermarkets, and they thrive and survive based on their version of what they're doing. Now, I remember looking at, I think it was Aldi during lockdown, and they said that Aldi, in the UK, of course, grew market share among the big guys during lockdown because of the way they were positioned, the way they were positioned in the minds of the audience, of the people that they were responding to. People went and shopped, people went and bought, people were looking for better options, and they found it in Aldi. So what I'm saying to you today is that there are no new ideas, they're just perceptions of ideas that exist, your version of the idea. So if you create something and make it yours and brand it yours, nobody can copy your idea. Because what? It's your version of it. So if you look around you, make an observation of what is there around you that looks more or less the same, but still surviving because it's virtually different. It's been differentiated by the entrepreneurs. So today, how does your idea become a business? Today we'll be sharing the 4 key steps, the 4 critical steps that every business, every entrepreneur must use to analyze, to look at what they have as a business, to decide whether it's a business or not. Hey, you know, there's one deciding factor if something's a business, you know. There's one deciding factor. We will come to that later in the show. But before we get there, let's look at this. What has been the idea that you've had in your head for some time? You know, we have some people who are critical procrastinators. They don't take any action. They have a lot to say. They can talk from now till tomorrow morning about the idea that's been sitting in their heads for the past 20 years. But they take no deliberate action. All right? No deliberate action. But it was just about a month ago that my coach brought this into my head. And from he dropped it into my head, I have not left this alone. I have constantly thinking about this, thinking about how this affects business, how this really makes an impact on our lives. And I thought I would just put it to you today. All right? So get your pens out, get your pencils out, get your cup of water out. Now, did you call your friends? Did you call your friends? Did you call everyone you know? Yes? Did you call everyone you know? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the platform your host, Alex Gordon. You know what? I have this idea. And so far, it's a massive idea. It's an idea that we're going to be speaking at O2 to over 10,000 people. Do You share, can you see that happening with me today? We're going to be speaking to over 10,000 people at O2 in a conference that's inspiring people, in a conference that's bringing life to people, in a conference that's making things happen. We need to mobilize our people for action, mobilize our people with ideas, mobilize them to take steps into the future that they've never taken before. If you rely on what exists around you and don't create what you see or what you're thinking, if you start creating the future that you want, then hey man, hey, I am sorry for you, because you can't rely on anyone else to do that for you, can you? All right, so get your pens together. All right, let's get this show on the road. So today I'm talking about how does your idea become a business? But I must first pull you back from being a business and somehow getting you to the point of being a patient. Now, have you ever been a patient? Yes? Think about it. Have you been a patient? Booked an appointment, gone to the doctors, get called into the doctors, into the appointment with the doctor. And sometimes you get annoyed. Why? Because the doctor's asking you all these questions. I'm saying, I'm not feeling well, I'm sick. And he asks you all these questions. Then he looks on his computer. Then he comes back to you and says, right, it's this. But what he's virtually done, he takes the information that you have told him, spins it back to you. Yes, he spins the information that you've told him back to you to give you a prescription for you to take. And you've thought, well, if that's the case, why on earth did I bother going to the doctor? I could have done that myself. Well, no, it's not necessarily true. You couldn't have written the prescription yourself because you're not qualified to write the prescription, okay? But let me just bring this to you, being a patient and what it really means. And it was a month ago that my coach dropped this on me, and I thought, okay, let's look at this in a critical way in terms of business. So let's draw up your pen and paper now, all right? So, as a patient, you go to the doctor or the hospital as a patient. Why? Because you have a problem. Something has happened. You've encountered something. It's happened, and you find you have to find a way to get better. Yes, that is it. You're in pain. All right? You're in pain. So most people go to the doctor when they're in pain. All right? So when you go to the doctor, you've got a problem and you're in pain. The doctor tries to find out from you, what are the symptoms? What is it that brought you to this point? How have you been feeling? Where does it hurt? He might probe you. Does it hurt here? Does it hurt there? He takes out his stethoscope, puts it on your chest and say, breathe in, breathe out. Let me listen to your breathing rhythm. Breathe in, breathe out. And he moves across your chest and down. And think, okay, your breathing is not too bad, but where else does it hurt? And there is about 2 minutes of diagnosing you based on the symptoms, what you're telling your doctor. Okay? He then refers to there was a time when it was a book. There was a time when there was some sort of book in the doctor's surgery. But no, he refers to his computer. He types in your name, checks your record, when was the last time you came in. Probably if you're a bloke, you haven't been in for a long time. And he checks the record to see, okay, what was happened last time? All right? And then he goes off, checks some other depository of information that he has. And he comes back to you, he or she as a doctor comes back to you and writes a prescription. Said, okay, this is what you've got. This is what I want you to take. I want you to take this for 6 to 10 days and come back to me in 10 days. Finish the prescription first and come back to me after, or finish it first and let me know what's going on. And he may give you a long-term prognosis saying, okay, if you might not have to come back to me, but take this, and when it's finished, you should be okay. You should feel better because this is, I think, what I think you have got. This is a problem that you have. Now, we don't feel comfortable until the doctor takes us through all those different steps. Yeah? We know we have a problem. We feel the pain. So we go to the doctor. The doctor then asks us, what are the symptoms? He analyzes the symptoms, references against his depository of information, and then decides, here's a prescription that can help you. Now, because this is a prescription, here's the long-term prognosis. And you walk away as a patient thinking, okay, let me take this, and you do everything the doctor says. Now, the question is, how does an idea become a business? When does it translate? Now, the one thing that the doctor has in common here is that the doctor is solving your problem. The doctor is seeing you as a patient, and the doctor is solving your problem. Now, how does that relate to business? Well, isn't the client almost a patient? Isn't the client come to you because they have a problem as well? Doesn't a client come to you thinking, well, these are my issues, these are my challenges, what do I do? Don't you then, as a business owner, have a discussion with the client to say, okay, what are the challenges that you're facing? All right. And you listen. Well, you have to listen. If you don't listen, then you don't know, you won't know how to position what you have to solve their problem. The difference with the doctor may have a variety of different chemicals that he can tap in and say, right, use this combination or use that combination. But as a person, as a business owner, you have to listen very carefully to what the client is saying so that you can match what you have to what they're suffering from. So you go through the symptoms, you come up with a prescription, and prescription has always been that one product you had there. It's always been that one product you had there, but you have to find a way to position that product in the minds of your client to solve their problem. So let's look at this another way. So as a business, there's a problem. As a business, you find the symptoms. As a business, you come up with a solution. And here's a long-term prognosis for that idea. Now, what I'm saying is that I, as a patient, I have a desire to be better. I have a desire to feel better. I have a desire that when I walk out of there or after this course of treatment, I meet the desire that I walked in there with. So I've got to look at what have I got to do daily as a patient? What have I got to do daily? What is the dosage that I have to take that will give me the desired results? Now, do you think that the business has to almost go through the same steps? Yeah, it starts with what they want or what the person wants, what the client wants, what the customer wants, and then what they have to do daily, their solutions in the daily activity that you give them, and here's the dosage and the long-term effect of that. I will end up with the desired result that I'm looking for. All right? Very close to what a patient experiences when a patient goes to the doctor. You as an individual have to make sure that your patient, well, as a business owner, you have to make sure, well, you normally put it in a guarantee, don't you? That if you stick to this and if you do this, if you do that, then it's going to give you the desired results you're looking for. Let's think about this a bit deeper. So, as a business owner, I then have to convey to my client that this is the opportunity. Okay, I have to see it as an opportunity to solve the problem as a business owner. All right, so I've got the idea. All right, I've got the idea, and this is the idea to help change people's lives. And the idea is that I'm going to make an impact on people's lives. So what do I have to do? I have to somehow convey the idea as an opportunity. All right? It's an opportunity to solve that problem. Now, the next step in that is that there's a belief that I have to convey. Now, if my potential client has disbelief or challenges, I have to find a way that what I'm talking about, this opportunity, has the potential to knock over those beliefs, get rid of those beliefs, the domino effect, get rid of those disbeliefs and challenge the beliefs and replace it with the belief I have in my opportunity or my product. I have to cause that shift. And you only cause that shift by having a conversation. Now, you're thinking, how can I have a 45-minute conversation, probably to a 60-minute conversation, to convey to a client that this is the solution that they're looking for? Now, I must say to you is that most times we buy things as a result of what we've been seeing for a long time. Okay? We enter into contracts with people not because of what they've said today, but for some reason we have seen this opportunity some time ago. Now you ask me, how does that happen, Alex? Well, just look at the mainstream media, look at television, look at the adverts that we see every day. We may not buy something right now, but we've seen an advert for it for the past 2 years. It's been nurtured into our subconscious mind. It's been nurtured as a sequence in our minds and hearts. And therefore, when we make the decision to buy, it's as a result of this idea, this product has measured up to exactly what I'm looking for, but it's happened over a period of time. So I, as a business owner, not only have to make sure that the people I'm talking to see this as an opportunity, I have to brand that as an opportunity. I have to enter their belief system so they believe what I'm saying. Know, like, and trust me. Yes, that's from nurturing. And also, what is the vehicle? What is the actual vehicle that's gonna make this happen? What is the vehicle? The vehicle is what you have. Now, when you're running a business that has products, it's quite easy to refer to a particular product that can solve a particular problem. That's what doctors do. They refer to this prescription, and in that prescription, there is a particular product or drug they want you to take. Now, when I was younger, many moons ago, and I used to go to the doctor, and I remember this in my probably mid-20s to late 20s, early 30s. I had one particular doctor that whenever I went to see him, he would always say to me, Mr. Gordon, there is nothing wrong with you. What do you mean there's nothing wrong with me? I've just reiterated to you all these symptoms. He said, Mr. Gordon, there's nothing wrong with you. No, it's okay. You'll get over this. What do you mean I'll get over this? And you know what he would always recommend to me? This doctor he was about late 60s into early 70s. He was still working. And he would say to me, Mr. Gordon, go home and have a pint of Guinness. Go home and have a pint of Guinness. All right. So I'm looking to get a prescription to walk away with to solve my problem. And he said, no, you don't need it. You don't need a prescription. Go away and do this. Go away and do that. Now, sometimes you don't need a prescription because what you have around you, what you have in you, you are able to self-medicate. All right. But there are some problems that you cannot self-medicate for. All right. You need an actual solution. So here we are. You have to make sure your idea is seen as an opportunity. You have to, your people you're talking to have to believe what you're saying. So you have to take your belief and transfer your belief to them so they see and hear what you're saying, and then create the vehicle, show them the vehicle. And this is why it's important as an individual to productize your business, even if you're providing services. Even if you're providing services, if you have a service that you're rendering to your clients, it's important that you productize, create products so that you can refer to products, that you can create combinations of different products even to solve people's actual problems that they're suffering from, that they're going through at the time. All right. So opportunity, belief, the vehicle, and the last thing is it profitable? Is it profitable? Now, unless something is profitable, it's not a business. Why? Because if you don't make profit, then you won't survive. Okay, you say to me, okay, Alice, what if I break even then? What if I break even then? Okay, well, you can break even. All right. Your actual cost equal to the revenue, you have nothing left over, right? But you're not running a charity here. No, you're not running a charity here. You're running something that's going to impact your life, the lives of the people around you. Therefore, you must be able to make a profit. So let's look at this and think, how does this then translate from the idea of being a patient, visiting a doctor, to being a client in front of a business owner who's listening to the conversation that's taking place? So what do we have here? We have the opportunity, right? So translating into the business side, what sector is that opportunity in? Where is the problem that I'm going to solve within the sector? All right. So you have to research the sector to think, okay, what happens in that sector? What can I produce and provide in that sector to solve that problem? Because it's an opportunity here that I see. So every problem is an opportunity. All right. And that's what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs have the ability to solve problems. All right. They look at a problem and think, what can I provide to make that happen? Now, I can remember the early days of Apple. I was not an Apple fan. I was a Microsoft guy. So everything I do was Windows based. All right. Everything I did was Windows based. I was into spreadsheets a lot. So all my spreadsheets were in Windows and Excel. And I was never an Apple guy at all. Therefore, the phones I used always had apps that were from those non-Apple products. Now, I remember when my friend said to me, Alex, you need to get an Apple phone. I said, what do you mean I need to get an Apple phone for? No, they said, Alex, it's tremendous. What you can do with your Apple phone is amazing. Now, if you asked me, what, 10, 15 years ago to do that, I would have said, no, man, you're crazy. But my friends persuaded me. Well, it was my family members who persuaded me at first. Yes, to get an Apple phone. Once I went to Apple, my creative ability suddenly came out. Up until that point, I never saw myself as a creative person. I could not create anything from atoms. No way. Yep. I was just someone, as an accountant, as a management accountant, just did figures, present the figures, interpret the figures, and that was it. I never saw myself as creative at all. But when I stepped into the Apple world and started to see what was happening in the Apple world, started to see that when an Apple product was released, people were queuing up for hours just to get their hands on Apple products. Now, you ask me, why was that? Now, Apple was not a telephone maker. They didn't make mobile phones. Apple did not make music. No. Apple, at that time, wasn't making apps. They had a desktop solution initially with software. And most of the time when we talked about Apple in those days, it was the graphic designers who were talking about Apple and say how great the product was for their graphical design. Yeah, it was those guys. Now, when I laid my hands on an Apple phone and started using Apple products, and I then bought an iPad, I started to use the iPad to draw, to create things, to make notes, to record notes. That opened up a different world to me of the apps that were able to for me to function. And therefore, even with the Message Talk Show, I do my editing and my production on my iPad. It walks around with me. It's cloud-based. Now, how did Steve Jobs do that? What Steve Jobs did very well was just presenting his simple ideas. They seemed simple at the time. And he presented an idea to the world, which was an opportunity for him, but also it was an opportunity for ordinary people to say, hey, what if? What if I was able to do that? What if I was able to use this app to do that? And he opened up the app world to producers in the marketplace to produce apps for Apple. An opportunity. He tapped into the belief. He created a vehicle and he charged that vehicle. So what sector it is in? What's the struggle? Yeah, what's the struggle? Okay, step one was a sector. Step two, what's the struggle? What's the struggle that you have to go through to create the solution? What is the struggle that your clients are having that you can match your product with? Now, I never thought I had a struggle, but I was not tapping into my creativity. That's a great opportunity. I was not tapping into my creativity. Are you tapping into your creativity, your creative genius that's inside of you? You think you're not a genius. You think you're not creative, but you are creative. There's something else inside of you that if just given the right tools, you're able to do things. You're able to design things. You're able to make things happen. It's amazing with the right tools in your hand. The third step is, what is a mechanism? Apple's mechanism were those mobile phones that were Someone said to me this week, do you remember those, was it the iPods? Those little music things that you use to listen to music on through Apple, and you download the music to the iPod. Yeah, they were small, but they were effective until he combined that inside the mobile phone. Wow, tremendous! In a mobile phone is able to do so many different things. This was an opportunity created by Steve Jobs. That opportunity created opportunities for other people throughout the world create apps for Apple. Now we have an app store full of different things. Yeah, with our podcasts, with our books. There's so many different things that we are now able to do because of this opportunity. Now, the mechanism that he created, the vehicle that he created, now he's got product after product after product now that they push out to the world. I mean, and it's not just Apple, Microsoft has theirs now, Google has theirs, Facebook has, look at Facebook. For most of the time, Facebook never had a real product themselves. Yep, until recently I start seeing those Facebook pods, so to speak, that you can buy them and do Facebook Lives on them. Amazon again, same thing. Amazon came together. Amazon created a platform that people use to sell their products. And after a number of years, Amazon started to create their own products, which were versions of what was already out there. So was it the Fire? The Fire, oh, what's it called again? It's like an iPad, isn't it? But it's Amazon's version of the iPad, so to speak. So what I'm saying, there is no idea that's new out there. It's just your version of what's new. Your version of the idea. So the fourth step is, can I charge? Can I charge for it? And that's the key. Can you charge for what you're creating? If you can't charge for it, then it's not a business. If people won't pay for it, then it's not a business. In order for it to be a business, people have to somehow pay. Now, the reason why I put charge and say and as a criteria and not the word make a profit, because Amazon for over 20 years did not make a profit. About 15 to 20 years, Amazon did not make a profit on what they were doing. Yeah? he invested and reinvested and put money back into building the massive platform and cloud-based organization. That's what Steve Jobs did. And therefore, it was his ability to charge that kept that business alive. Not necessarily that was making a profit, but today, oh my God, the investment has paid off. So I am saying to you today that if you see an opportunity, if you create an opportunity, help people to believe about your opportunity, the domino effect, create a vehicle that has the ability to make profit, and then somehow look at it and think, okay, what's the sector in which the problem exists? Let me do some research on that sector. What's the struggle that market, that group of people are going through that I can relate to? Yeah. And if, after the struggle, there must be successes, because Amazon's very successful now as well. Apple's very successful now. And you probably won't hear about the struggles now anymore. They don't talk about the struggles. They talk about their successes. Yes. The successes sell you their ideas. Yes. Agree? The success. And the mechanism, what is the mechanism that you have in place to create and deliver your solution to your audience? And the fourth one is, can you charge for it? Now, I hope you've benefited from this today. I hope you've got something from this today, because this is what you're doing in your business, how you transfer your idea into a business and work that business to make profit. That is it. That is it, guys. Now, I hope you've taken notes today. Yes, you can join the replay for this. You can listen to the replay. Okay, it's very simple, but it's very true. All right. Now, if you want to connect with me, go to masteryourmessage.co.uk/ignite. Get on a call with me. Get on a call. masteryourmessage.co.uk/ignite. Because you know what? Until you take that idea and make it a business, until you take the idea and make it a business. Now, in today's market, there isn't anything that can't become a business now, is there? Because as we move from being in industrialized countries and move to more casual entertainment. Okay, why am I saying that? Robots, machines are the tools that are performing most of the tasks now. Next 10 years, we will see the application of artificial intelligence in a large amount of areas of our lives. And therefore, we will not be the ones directly sometimes handling all those tools, though artificial intelligence will be managing those tools themselves. So therefore, we will make money through different means. We'll make money through entertainment more. We'll go to the gym more. We'll be more comedians. There'll be more speakers. There'll be more thought leaders. Why am I saying this? Because it means that a concept that's in your head today that you think is not a business, you're going to have to look at it and think, how do I translate this into it becoming a business that I can charge for? Becoming a business that I can create an opportunity to help other people. And there are so many ways that you can do that today. So get on my strategy call with me. masteryourmessage.co.uk/ignite. And don't forget, is that your idea is not a brand new idea. No, it's not a brand new idea. It's just your version of that idea. Your version of that idea that can become reality in the marketplace. Your idea. Wow. I hope you got something from that today, and tune in. Now let me go to our sponsor.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community. Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
So on my recap, it's an opportunity that you have. It's an opportunity that you create, and you help people to believe. You tap into their belief system, and you create a vehicle to transfer your opportunity to help someone else, that you can create a profit. All right? So decide which sector that's in, decide the struggle, look at the mechanism, and charge for it. Now, the reason why I talked about a patient and we talked about the symptoms, and I haven't really delved into the symptoms today as much, but when you start to understand the symptoms that your client base, that your people are going through, and you clearly dig deep into that, you will completely understand how to talk to your audience, how to speak to your audience at all times. Why? Because you know what they're suffering with, you know the pain that they're going through. So if you want to tune into this again, tune into the Message Talk Show. Call your friends, call everyone, and tune in again to the Message Talk Show on a Thursday with host Alex Gordon.
Don't miss the show. You got to be on the show.